Chris is a licensed clinical social worker with over 20 years of experience in mental health. He's the founder of Hobble Creek Behavioral Health and the nonprofit Heal the Hurt. Additionally, Chris is president of the Association of Utah Substance Abuse Professionals, and he uses advanced therapies like EMDR, neurofeedback, and the such to help clients build confidence, connection, and authenticity. And this is a two-part CE today. We're covering part two of mindfulness for the overwhelmed. If by chance you missed part one, check our YouTube channel. There's a link to that I sent out with this invitation as well, if you need a refresher on that. But I'm going to turn the time over to Chris.
Hi, everybody. If you were here last time, thank you so much for coming back. We're going to do a quick, just kind of a brush up, and we're going to jump into meditation right away. So, a couple of things, these tips for our best practice with mindfulness and meditation, some that will apply for us today in this moment, finding a special place. And for some of you, it's your office or maybe in the vehicle or somewhere. Hopefully, it's quiet and serene as serene can be for you. And I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in, as deep as your lungs will allow, and then let it go. And do it again. And sometimes when we inhale, we think we've filled our lungs to capacity. Most of the time, I find that there's room for just a little bit more air. And so, one thing I'll do with my clients is, or with my kids or others, is breathe in all the way, fill the lungs up completely, and hold it for a split second. And then before you exhale, breathe in a little bit more. Force those lungs to expand a little bit more, and then let it go. Exhale completely. And same thing can be done on the outward breath. Force the belly and the lungs empty. Hold it for a second, and then gather yourself and see if you can force any more air out. Just exhale as much as you can. And I think one of the most important things, one of the most basic things that we can do is just focus on the breath. If we're struggling with anxiety or depression or stressors, worry, it may not solve the issue or the dilemma, but focusing on the breath and quieting the mind will help us to be a lot more efficient and effective and able to handle whatever the stressor is, at least with a little bit better outcome. One other tip, sit straight and relaxed. If you're meditating at night, try to prepare to go to bed, then lying down is great. Slouching a little bit is great, kind of prepping to fall asleep. But middle of the day, if you're able to sit up straight, that good posture, sometimes it's a chore for us to sit up straight, or we might feel some pain or strain. The slow and steady wins the race, that number 5 in the bottom left-hand corner. If you've never meditated before, just like if you've never run a half marathon or a marathon, you're not going to start out trying to be perfect. Slow it down. 30 seconds, a minute, being in that zone is going to be plenty. And eventually 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even an hour. So it sounds pretty quiet. If you'll just double check that your mic is off. When I teach meditation, if one of the attendees just doesn't feel it, just doesn't get into it. That's okay. There's no judgment. Doesn't mean anyone's doing it wrong. But I ask that they don't disturb the person next to them. We're going to jump into our meditation. I'm going to play a little bit of music in the background. 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned this is my favorite meditation clip. And I will invite you to envision yourself sitting on the edge of a cliff. And it will have to do with the ocean. You will get into the water. And so if anyone has a phobia or stressors around that, just please be mindful of that. I don't want to disturb you in any way. We'll jump to this and then we'll come back to some of these previous slides. So again, as deep a breath as you can. And if at any time during this next 15 or 20 minutes, maybe, if you feel yourself distracted, it's okay. Return your focus to your breath. Use that technique again of trying to expand the lungs beyond what you thought they were capable of. And then exhale completely. Imagine yourself sitting on the edge of a cliff, looking out across an ocean. It is just before the dawn on a warm summer's morning. All around you is still and soundless. Just slivers of starlight sparkling off the waves below saves a pitch blackness. A warm breeze drifts across the ocean and wafts up the face of the cliff and into your heart. This breeze is not so much a movement of air, but a feeling of peace. As you focus out towards the horizon, you notice the first purples and crimsons of the morning dawn spilling out across the sky. And you begin to get a feeling of the sunrise. Newness, beauty, warmth, innocence. All the time, the sunrise is changing. Purples turning to crimsons, and crimsons to oranges and yellows. The feeling of the sunrise intensifying, soaring across the vastness into your heart breath. And now the sky above and behind you is being overwhelmed by the color and feeling of the sunrise until the very air around you is tinged by the wondrous purple hue of the morning dawn. It fills the air like a fragrance. You breathe and the sunrise enters. The crescendo builds, and finally the first ray of sun explodes into the sky, straight to your heart, filling you like an electric charge with peace and light. You feel as though if you were to just stretch your arms, they might become like wings, and you would be able to soar down over the ocean. And so you do. You stand and stretch your arms and lean ever so gently against that breeze drifting up the face of the cliff. You find yourself becoming lighter and lighter until just your big toe on your right foot is your only link to the earth. And a moment later, a gentle puff lifts you off, and letting go, you glide down over the face of that cliff and soar inches above the surface of the ocean. One wingtip every so often, just dipping into the water, making splashes that sparkle rainbows across the sky. The gentle breeze that had wafted up into your heart at the top of the cliff has now become a great gush, rolling over your wingtips, splashing against your face, inundating your heart with peace. And in the distance, or perhaps deep inside your own heart, you hear two words whispered, ever so gently, over and over again. I am. I am. I am. I am the sky. I am the ocean. I am the sunrise. I am the bird. I am freedom. As you look down across the waves, you feel the whole ocean vast, horizon to horizon. You feel it. You have become the sky as far as you can see. It feels as though you could stretch your wings from horizon to horizon and engulf every little part of this magnificence. And it's shown to you in the next moment that it is the love deep inside your heart that is allowing you to connect with all that is around you. Your love is so full, so all-encompassing, that you understand and feel what every part of the creation is feeling. You glide in this love. You float in this love. You soar in this love. All the time it expanding within you, welling up inside your heart. And then with just a whim, you decide to dive deep to the very depths of the ocean. And as you splash through the surface, you feel that this ocean is so deep, it is almost unfathomable. Deeper and deeper you dive past the turbulent waves crashing about on the surface. Deeper and deeper to the silent, still depths of the ocean. And you feel that you're diving in some parallel way deep into your very own soul, plummeting to the center of yourself, past the worries and fears and doubts and limitations crashing about on the surface of your life. Until finally, at the bottom of the ocean, at the still center of your soul, you sit, legs crossed in perfect silence, in perfect stillness. And there at the core of your existence, you explore yourself in perfect meditation. Light beams stream through the water, and as you glance upward, you see the noonday sun, powerful and bright. Drawn like a magnet, your heart pulls you upward, and focusing on the light, you accelerate through the surface of the ocean back into the sky. The more you concentrate, the faster you accelerate, and the intensity of the light satiates you, your every atom. Your heart, like a beacon, propels you higher and higher. And you realize that this light is not just a physical light, it is also a spiritual light, the light of wisdom, of truth. It is as though all of the millions and billions of people that have ever been here on the earth and all of their experiences, their wisdom, their revelations are flooding the very core of your being with light, truth, and wisdom. All the time, the light welling up inside you until finally it seems as if you were to look out to observe your form. All you would see is light. You have become the light and all that it touches, and it fulfills you. Finally relaxing and drifting across the sky, you allow yourself to return to where you started your journey and observe this time the setting of the sun. Yellows turn to oranges and crimsons and purples. And for a time, the whole sky gasps in wonder as the colors permeate the twilight. The last moments brightening into a dazzling showcase with kaleidoscopic reflections off the ocean. As the last ray of sun steps off the horizon, you're struck by the eternity of it all. The sunset of one day here, but somewhere else, the sunrise of another. Tranquil, at peace, you feel calm, contented, and fulfilled. Just sit quietly for a moment, noticing what you felt. Bring the focus back to your breath. Sometimes to end a meditation, start to wiggle my fingers and toes or roll my wrists and ankles around in a circle, move my head from side to side. Take a few really deep breaths. Let them go. When you're ready, open your eyes. Maybe for a couple of minutes, is anyone interested in sharing something that came to them? And this could be, I couldn't do it, or I felt something great. Question that came up: what do you recommend for clients who cannot visualize in their minds? I would most likely start with something that is visual, a video, something experiential that will give the mind something to see, that will give the eyes something to see and the mind something to process. One reason I love guided visualization so much is because the the original way I was told to meditate was to quiet everything. And I find that to be difficult. If I quiet the mind, there's the next task ready to overwhelm me, ready to bombard me. And so the visualizations for me are really helpful. But that's a great question. There's some programs on YouTube and online where you can get, where there's some videos that have been created, but at a minimum, getting to a beach, getting into the woods, I think would be really helpful. I agree with that environment. It can be difficult. I even heard I turned on some music. By the way, I don't know how the audio was with the music going, but I like Dan Gibson. Um, there's a CD of his, or an album, I guess, of his with 5 tracks, and it's just the waves and some what I call angel music, whether that's harps or whatever the sun, whatever the sunrise sounds like in my mind is what Dan Gibson put together, and some birds. But I could hear the lobby of our office. So our location really matters. But there are times where we can meditate in a very busy world, a very busy environment as well. So using headphones, white noise can be very helpful as well. We can't always get up into the mountains or get to a beach or something like that. Seth mentioned trying not to judge myself for all the distractions that came up in my mind. Um, I love that comment. Like I mentioned a moment ago, and I've been doing meditation for a very long time, and I still struggle to keep the mind quiet. Because again, here come the next thoughts, the next tasks, the next worries. And so even if it's the split moment, the very, very short moment between those thoughts, we can find some peace in that, find some fulfillment in that. I love this. I feel completely zen. Joseph, we might just want to end now and let everybody have a 30-minute nap. That's a joke, but maybe it's not so much. I love this comment about strong connection to myself as well as with others in the world itself. Thank you for saying that. I think that's so important. We hear a lot of ideas around teaching children meditation in schools and what outcomes that might have on our world at large. I believe in that very much. If you have kids or you work with kids, or in your heart you're a kid, this meditation piece, again, it doesn't solve our problems. It doesn't make our dilemmas go away. It helps us to deal with them more efficiently, more effectively. Yeah, if you ever drift off, wonderful. When the time is right, you come back. You get to be in control. You get to decide. I've done this particular meditation before bed. Uh, and this one I see a request for the script. I'll send that Joseph out. It's actually the Meditation Society of Australia is, I read it almost verbatim from some of their scripts. They have a bunch of free resources online. You can go to meditation.org.au. And for me, the Australian or New Zealand accent, I'm instantly on a beach. You could describe to me how to clean a toilet or any of the things on dirty jobs in a New Zealand accent, and I would be in heaven. It is just so peaceful to me. When we're through, I'll go back to these chats because there's quite a few, and I will, and Joseph, I may need your help with getting that. Um, but I'd love to respond to each of those and give some ideas, or even an I'm not sure. Let me look, and get back with you. So with that, we're going to jump back to our slides. And if you feel so inclined to unmute and share, I'd love that. I know that may cause some dilemma with us talking over each other. But at a minimum, will you reflect with yourself what sensations or emotions arose? And it's not always pleasant. It's not always, I feel great. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it can be complicated. A couple of weeks ago when we did part one, talked about somebody who shared with me, if I quiet my mind, I remember what happened. and I can't go there. So when we couple meditation or we use meditation and mindfulness practice to treat addiction or substance use disorders, trauma, we have to be incredibly mindful of the of what we're opening up, where we're leading the client, and how quickly we're leading them there. Next question, and it's very related, I think, but where did your mind go? In the chat, some people had talked about like being in a good space, others thinking about other things, other tasks. I really connect with this comment at the bottom of the chat. Guilt. I should be seeing a client right now. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, your clients need you. And I honor that you guys are here, that you're taking this time out for yourselves. You chose this field for a reason. Sometimes I reflect on that decision. What brought me here? Why do I do this work? And I find that if I don't take care of me, I burn out. I am no stranger to burnout. I see quite a few professionals. And I think a big focus is navigating through that guilt. That self-care piece is so important so that I can do good work, so that I can be my best, both for my clients, but even for me, more importantly, for my family. Mindfulness for me helps me navigate my boundaries a lot better too. I saw a comment about the Point Laie, Hawaii. Absolutely. We may be able to get Aspen Grove to sponsor some of us to go there and do some field research, Joseph. What does returning to the presence feel like? So when you open your eyes, whether it's at the conclusion of a visualization or partway through, if something distracts you, if something comes into your environment and pulls you out. We deal with a variety of things, and our clients deal with a variety of things. Random thoughts, racing thoughts, chronic pain, interruptions from our responsibilities. Sometimes taking a moment is the quiet moment during a nap with it for a baby. And a parent or caregiver is trying to get that 30 minutes or that hour and a half or whatever that window looks like for some self-care. And maybe it's not even self-care, it's ADLs. So coming back to the presence, is it rejuvenating? I got this feeling. Is there a crap? I don't want to go back. Both are natural. And sometimes I think we can feel those two kind of opposite or opposing feelings simultaneously. Keely, I agree. We'll all go if we're sponsored. So any other thoughts around that so far? All right. How do we integrate meditation or mindfulness into our daily life? We spent 15, 20 minutes starting with breathing, slowing down a little bit, trying to visualize ourselves on this cliff, um, near this ocean, in this ocean, before coming back. So what if you have 7 minutes between sessions if you schedule on the hour, if you're in outpatient or private practice, residential treatment, administration. Each of us is going to have a different schedule, different way to accommodate our self-care. I like to breathe really deeply. When I breathe really deeply and audibly, I notice that people in my vicinity look because the way I exhale sounds like I'm frustrated, sounds like I'm irritated. And it's become almost a game for, not a game, but it's become a kind of a joke for me. Just trying to reset the nervous system, just trying to slow down. Doesn't mean I'm mad, doesn't mean I'm upset. But instead of that one breath, do a few more. Really be intentional. Some people go on walks regularly, um, especially as our weather's changing here. I look out my window, there's a park across the way, and I can see a lot of people out walking, riding bikes, enjoying the sun, enjoying the weather. And sometimes we do that without thinking. We're just on the way to work or we're on the way to whatever our destination is. Slowing down, paying attention, and noticing can be incredibly calming. So, not just the walking piece, driving, eating, any of those things that we do on a regular basis. Being intentional. Meditation can help before or after therapy. Sometimes I see a few people saying a little bit, maybe a little bit sleepy or feeling a little slower. Sometimes we associate calm with sleepy. So being mindful of it. I've had some therapists that I've talked with who will schedule themselves a 15 or 30-minute window in between their appointments when they're working in outpatient settings, just to decompress, relax. It's not all charting time, but just to re-regulate. One super important thing, replacing our reaction with response. And I know this is, in some ways, can be cliche, the difference between a reaction or a response, but really paying attention to what that looks like in real time. Responding cautiously, carefully, calmly, as opposed to that quick reaction that we give sometimes when we're in fight or flight. A few plugs for meditation and mindfulness. Again, we're not curing our ailments, but I think that meditation goes to great lengths to help reduce our symptoms, give us a sense of hope, a sense of control over anxiety and depression, even traumas. Again, we'll use it to treat addiction issues and helping people calm the nervous system during triggers, cravings, urges, even. And it doesn't have to be urges to use substances, but behavioral impulses as well. Impulsivity with food, impulsivity with relationships and love as we seek safety or seek whatever it is that we believe we need in the moment when we're not okay. Meditation and mindfulness will enhance our skills as far as attentiveness, our length of our attention span, our patience, and maybe a better word for that is grace. The grace that we offer or afford to others, as well as ourselves, and our awareness. I've mentioned this third one already, so we'll jump to the bottom one, improving connection. And again, sometimes we are looking for distractions. So we may not want an increase in our awareness or improvement in our connection. Again, these are some natural things. Don't judge, just notice Sometimes we need a little bit of professional help ourselves. This is not a workshop for perfect people. So, um, we've got a few minutes, so we can jump back to the chat, or if anyone would like to share or ask a question, Joseph and Summer, feel free. I don't know if you can see like hands or anything. Brandy, this comment, second to last comment, my chronic pain always interrupts my peace. Sometimes there are things that people are dealing with that we just don't experience, and so we don't think of it. So I love that you brought that into this, even though it's unpleasant. I don't have that daunting task feeling like some of you, even though I can empathize with that. The chronic pain is always there. It's so hard. Sometimes meditation or bringing that awareness back can feel like we're making things worse because the focus intensifies. Someone said earlier, in their mind, maybe going to Santa Cruz, standing on the wharf, watching the sunset in the ocean. I love it. I love it.
One thing that I really liked, Chris, was someone made a comment earlier in the chat about maybe those who are dealing with trauma and how maybe closing your eyes isn't an option for those individuals. But they were instructing people to kind of focus on a single point in the room, and that would allow them to focus and to meditate without having to close their eyes. I found that really
Yep.
fascinating.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I must have missed that one. Um, Again, for anyone that wasn't here a couple of weeks ago, uh, one of I don't know if it's the cynical side, the sarcastic side, the rebellious side, um, the annoying side of me pays attention to the why not. And so when teaching people about meditation, I ask that, why would you not do it? And there are frequent responses of, I can't do it, I don't have enough time, I can't clear my mind, so on and so forth. And for quite some time, they were kind of those were the cookie cutter answers, the answers that most of us would guess. And finally, somebody said to me, it was one of our clients who said, I can't meditate because when I slow my mind down or when I clear my mind, I remember what happened to me and I want to get high. And I'll tell you, that's putting it gently and PG rated. I understand that. So coming up with alternatives, some other things that we can do, experiential opportunities are fantastic because you don't have to focus on quieting the mind and giving space for the past memories and traumas and those kinds of things. Earlier, I was talking about walking, eating, giving us something to do to focus on because we quiet the mind without realizing what we're doing. It's giving it that escape, a healthy escape, as opposed to some of the more self-destructive things that we might do, that our clients might do, that humans might do. The Meditation Society of Australia has like 54 classes. Again, it's free. You can pay, I don't know, 15 or something years ago. You could pay $10 for a lifetime membership, and it gives you the studio quality recordings. Um, but go get the free ones. Just use headphones. Sometimes it's hard to understand the accent. It's pretty thick. And so I'll tell people, don't worry about the wording. Don't worry what they said. Just keep going. Keep noticing. All right. Someone's going to Santa Cruz tomorrow. That's amazing. Congrats. We'll all live vicariously through you. Last time we talked a bit about the Calm app, Insight Timer. Um, there were some great resources provided. Joseph, in your email out, did you send any of those by chance? And if not, maybe this round, let's send out. Um, I think UCLA and BYU had some
Yes,
resources that were listed in the chat.
they did.
So
I made note of those. I'll send them out today. Well, not today, but this week when I send out these certificates. There were some really good ones. I think UCLA had one. Someone also mentioned Kaiser Hospital also had some as well. And I think I jotted down about four different places where you can find guided meditation for free. It was fascinating.
oh,
Callie
I
says the
think
Headspace app also has meditations. Yeah, great, great resource.
there's a lot of good stuff out there. And I just want to acknowledge, do what your preference is. Do that thing that works for you. This one called The Cliff, I think it's class 6 or 7 with the Meditation Society of Australia. It's my favorite one. I'm sure there are people who hate it. That's okay. I didn't invent it, so I'm not insulted or offended or anything like that. Guys, do that thing that works for you. The results are what's important. And even though it's difficult at first for many of us, sticking with it, we go from 30 seconds to a minute to 5 minutes to eventually, in fact, they have one class that's like closer to an hour. It's not one of the first 10. Trying to do that early on is unrealistic. We're going to start, like Seth had mentioned, um, these other tasks, these other things that we're going to be doing. I'll forget that I had started meditating an hour ago. I finished all my notes or whatever it is. Be intentional. Take this time for yourself. It's a gift, and it's a free gift most of the time. I don't think I have a friend who told me this a while back. He didn't invent this quote, but he's who said it to me. So I think of him. Um, but he said, choose a day off or your body will choose one for you. And man, it has proven to be true year after year. When I refuse to give myself that day off or that time off, we get sick, we get overwhelmed. So do this for yourselves. Give yourself some time away. Um, so many of you know Davy Chandler. Davy Chandler works in my office, and for until about 2 years ago, I drove a Jeep Gladiator, and I loved getting into the mountains. I'd have maybe a tough day or a great day. I didn't care what the excuse was. I was looking for the excuse to go drive up Hobble Creek Canyon for 10 minutes, for an hour, whatever time allowed. And I told Davey about 2 hours ago, I showed him, I'm gonna get a Jeep Gladiator again. That's my excuse. That's my self-care. Getting outside, being intentional. Um, do those things that take care of you. Sometimes it's Spotify. Sometimes it's your favorite meal. It's dancing. It's connecting with others. It's laughter. It does not have to be hands up in the air saying ohms or listening to Australian accents or anything like that. Do that thing that makes you come alive. That last plug is, you guys, we know this. Our world needs you. Our community needs you. We do better work when we're okay. We do better work when we're taking care of ourselves. So give yourself that gift. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate your work and your time.
I see a lot of great comments about how useful this was. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time and preparation.
Absolutely. I started to type this. If there's no takers on questions or comments or complaints or appropriate jokes, I'm gonna start a meditation workshop if anybody's interested in attending that. There would not be a fee for it. Be an 8 week course, kind of that kind of a learn to meditate, really active participation, interactive. And then after that is completed, we'll do a monthly just kind of gathering to meditate. And whether it's in office because it's raining, or we meet near the lake shore or in the mountains or whatever, but those experiential things. So if anyone's interested, I'll hit enter. You can send me an email or get in touch with me. Come knock on our door or something. But yeah, take some time.
Fantastic. Well, I'll ask a quick question. So, Chris, let's assume maybe that I'm in, I don't know, say like a crowded room or somewhere where, closing my eyes and trying to tune out would just not work for me. Can like the breathing exercises alone and just kind of focusing on certain things, can that be almost as effective as, entirely tuning out and going to that special place?
I don't know if I can say it would be as effective. It's everyone, we're all going to have our own experiences and results, but in a crowded room, closing our eyes for a minute, breathing deeply, I want to focus on kind of preventive care, even. Some people are skilled with bilateral stimulation or know about bilateral stimulation, EMDR and ART, and so on and so forth. Sometimes we don't want to do that publicly because we don't want to draw attention to ourselves. There are ways to be a little more discreet with bilateral stimulation,
Mhm.
um, just kind of tapping the fingers back and forth, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, but taking a deep breath. Um, it's more acceptable socially, I think, to have headphones in. And some people have headphones in or over the ear, and they're not listening to anything. It's just quieting the sound in the environment. And so I love that question. I'm kind of telling you some of the things that I've done. Uh, there's a song by, it's called Marconi Union, and the song is called Weightless. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that, but neuroscientists have awarded it or determined that it is the most anti-anxiety song in the world ever. I don't know how they determine that, but ooh, let's put that here. Marconi Union, and it's called Weightless. Thank you, Madison. Somebody on Spotify put because the song is about 7 or 8 minutes long, and somebody created a playlist where it repeats, I think, and it goes for about 8 hours. And so I may or may not have hit play on that and set the phone outside of my kid's room for that to play throughout the night. Sometimes I'll do it during an EMDR session. That'll be some background music. So, Joseph, to get back to that, sometimes we're kind of stuck in an environment where we can't escape. And from a um, helping standpoint, sometimes we say, I've got to use the restroom. I've got to step out. Excuse me for a moment. And we go regroup. But when we can't do that, that bilateral stimulation, tapping, um, asking for some grace. Each of us knows how we handle stress best. That doesn't mean that we're doing those things. So we need reminders.
I love that. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we are at the top of the next hour. If there are no more questions or comments, I think we'll end today. But I just wanted to thank Chris one more time for all the preparation that he put into this two-part presentation. It has been so eye-opening for a lot of us, and I appreciate all your effort, Chris.
absolutely. It's an honor. Thank you.